Hello, friends, welcome again. Friends, remember that when we are studying literature, when we are studying criticism, remember it is colored by two things: personality of the author, of the critique, and also the time. So, time or change of time and personality play important role in the making of literature, in the making of criticism. So, in today's video lecture, we are going to discuss the personal and historical aspects of criticism. But friends, before we move ahead, I request all my viewers to please subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon so that when I upload a new video, you will get the notification. And friends, let's begin. Why do we read criticism? The question is, why do we read criticism? We read criticism. Why? Because we want to understand and we want to enjoy and interpret the author's work in a better way. Fine. Now, criticism helps the readers and it helps the authors as well. But the students of literature, as the students of literature, we must also focus on two different aspects, personal and historical, when we are studying criticism. Why? Because no critique and no author lives in a vacuum. Okay? The authors or the critics' comments on the author is sometimes partially colored by his own personality, colored by his own point of view. And moreover, time is dynamic. When time changes, ideologies change, right? And that's why criticism on one particular work of art change from time to time. If you read Shakespeare, fine, during 16th century people enjoyed, but the other audience might not enjoy William Shakespeare in some other age, in some other period. Okay, so historical perspectives and personal aspects of criticism must be studied. So let's begin with personal aspects. Friends, we know that every critic has his own ideology, he has his own theory to understand and interpret the work of art. Okay, so he follows one particular theory, one particular ideology, and examines the author's works from that perspective only. Okay, so as a result, what happens that there are as many judgments as there are critiques. Two critiques, they comment on one particular work of art, but their comments are different, their judgments are different. Okay, and this creates confusion in the mind of the readers. But at the same time, these two different perspectives by two different critics is also beneficial for the readers. Why? Because we get different interpretation on that same work of art from different perspectives. So, in a way, it is beneficial to the readers. Okay? So, personality of the critic sometimes is helpful and sometimes it is harmful. His personal views, his personal opinions, on a work of art, sometimes they are politically prejudiced, and so this misleads the readers. It happens, in today's times. In modern world, one author writes a work of art and sometimes some politics is played on that work of art, and the critics belonging to one group, they appreciate that work of art, and the critics belonging to some other group who are politically or culturally influenced by some different ideology, they do not appreciate that work of art. So that's why, sometimes the critics' judgments are colored by their own ideologies, by their own prejudices, and this creates problems for the readers. This sometimes misleads the readers. And number 3, the critics' comments on a work of art, they stop our original reading, first-hand experience of that original text. Okay, sometimes the original meaning is lost. Okay, it is we are sometimes, when we read the critical comments on a work of art, we are influenced by those critical comments. The critic imposes his ideas on our mind and heart, and then when we read the original text, we fail to gain the original meaning which the author wants to convey. Okay, so personal aspects, they sometimes are beneficial and sometimes are misleading for the readers. What are the historical aspects? Time plays an important role. One critic's comments on literature in one age changes from the other critic's comment on the same literature, the critic who lives in a different age, right? Time changes and ideologies change. Why? Because with the passage of time, the people's likes and dislikes, people's different ideologies, they keep on changing from time to time. What was loved by the Elizabethan audience is not necessary that it is loved by the audience of the modern world, right? So, for example, John Bunyan, he wrote Pilgrim's Progress during the 17th century, towards the end of the 17th century. When this work of art was published by John Bunyan, it was not accepted. Most of the critics rejected as a worst piece of literature. But with the passage of time, if you come to the 19th and 20th century, there are some other critics who call it a wonderful book. Macaulay, say for example, during the 19th century, calls it a wonderful work of art. And Gosset, during the 20th century, also calls it a perfect work of art. Okay, so the literature which was rejected during the 17th century was now welcomed during the 19th and 20th century. So, as the students of literature, the historical study of literature provides us different perspectives, different views, different ideologies by different critics. So, it is just like a journey from where, in which we move from one place to the other. We move from romanticism to classicism, again romanticism, then realism, and then surrealism. Say for example, if you read 16th century literature, it is full of romanticism. But if you come to the 17th and 18th century, we have classicism, which is a reaction against romanticism. But again, if you come to the beginning of the 19th century, again we have romanticism, which is again a reaction against the previous classicism. Okay, then we have realism as a reaction against that romanticism. Okay, and then we have surrealism during the 20th century, which was a reaction against realism. So, it is always action and reaction in literature, and these historical studies, they help us enhance our knowledge about literature, enhance our understanding about literature. And that's why, friends, we must study literature from the historical perspectives. We must study criticism from that historical perspectives too. So friends, here we come to the end of this lecture. If you have any doubts or questions, don't worry, do write to me in the comment section of this channel. Thank you very much.